Hi all my dear students, I welcome you all to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes. I am Amit Ajmani. I hope you all are doing well, studying hard, preparing well for your examination and keeping up well. So students, in this lecture, we will start up a new chapter, that is the chapter number 2 of your biology, tissues in plants and animals. In the previous chapter, we have completed up the first chapter, that is the fundamental unit of life, in which we studied basically about the cell and the cell organelles. Now we are going to step up a bit and we'll relate what exactly tissues are and what are the various types of tissues which are present in plants and animals. So ready to start the show? Let's start. What are tissues? A group of cells having a common origin, a common structure, and work together to perform a specialized function in an organ of an organism. That group of cells is termed as tissue. So there are millions and millions of cells in our body, and there are so many functions to be performed by these cells. So it is not randomly done. Our body is a very complex design and very beautifully built up, in which there is division of labor taking place. Right? What exactly happens is the group of cells which have similar embryonic origin, they are allotted specific functions depending upon their location, their shape, their structure, their size, their functionings are specific, and such group of cells, that is termed as tissues. The branch of zoology in which tissues are studied, that is called histology, in which we studied about these tissues. Now in this chapter we'll be focusing on both these type of tissues, that is the plant tissues and the animal tissues. Now let us see what exactly are the few basic differences between plant tissues and animal tissues. When we talk about the plant tissues, most of the plant tissues are simple, they are supportive in function and dead. Most of them, exceptions are there, but most of them are dead. Why? As they are adapted for sedentary existence of plants. Plants are fixed. Plants do not locomote. Right? So that is why their functions are related to this sedentary existence of plants. But when we talk about animal tissues, most of the animal tissues are living, as they are adapted for movement, for locomotion. So that is the basic difference between the plant tissues and animal tissues. The altogether purpose is different. That is why the plant tissues are simple in their structural organization, whereas the animal tissues are quite complex in their structural organization. Plant tissues need less maintenance, they need no energy, whereas the animal tissues, they need regular maintenance and lot of energy for their sustenance. The plant tissues are mainly categorized under two headings. There are two types of plant tissues. Number one is specialized for growth of plants, that is called meristems, and the other is for structure and special functions. They are called permanent tissues. We'll be studying them in detail. So plant tissues are mainly of these two types, meristems and permanent tissues. Whereas when we talk about animal tissues, they are mainly of four types: epithelial, muscular, connective, and nervous. Of course, we'll be studying in lot much detail about all these types. And here, no tissue is specialized for growth. Why so? Because in animals, growth is uniform, right? So these are a few basic differences between plant tissues and animal tissues. So let us start up first of all with the detailed study of plant tissues. Now these plant tissues are further categorized into two parts. One are the meristematic tissues, which are also called meristems, and the other ones are permanent tissues. Now what are these? Let us try to study one by one in detail, starting with the meristematic tissues or meristems first. Now, what are meristems? These are the dividing tissues which are present at the growing parts of the plants. These are in continuous state of division. They continuously divide, and because of their division new cells are formed, because of which the growth of plant takes place both lengthwise and girthwise. Let us discuss a few features of the cells which constitute these meristematic tissues. Quite important, these cells are in continuous state of division. Continuously they will divide. The cells of these meristematic tissues are very active. They have dense cytoplasm because they have to divide further to make more cells. They have thin cellulose walls and they have a very large prominent nuclei, right? They lack vacuoles or they have very less vacuoles. Now we know what is the function of vacuoles. We have studied that in the chapter fundamental unit, storage sacs. Now these cells are going to continuously divide. So their function is not of storage. That is why either they have very less vacuoles or no vacuoles at all. And these cells are tightly packed. There is no spaces between the cells. They produce new cells which are for maintenance and repairing in the plants. Now these meristematic tissues, depending upon their location, depending upon the region where they are present, these are of following three types. One are the apical meristems. Now, what are apical meristems? These are the meristematic tissue which are present at the growing apical parts or the tips of the stems and root. And because they are continuously dividing, they are present at the tips, they help in increasing the length of the stem and the root. So apical meristems, they increase the length of the plant upward as well as downward. Second type are the lateral meristematic tissue. Now these lateral meristems are present at the sides or the lateral parts of the stem and root, because of which when they divide and they grow in number, they will increase the girth of stem or root, that is the cambium, the width, that is due to the lateral meristems. Third ones are the intercalary meristems. They are present at the base of the leaves or the internodes on either side of the nodes or the twigs. So these are the three types: apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. Apical help in increasing the length of the plant. Lateral help in increasing the girth of the plant. Intercalary helps in increasing the branches, twigs, nodes, internodes of the leaves, etc. So these are the meristematic tissue, the first type of tissue present in plants. Right? Now these meristematic tissues will divide and divide and divide, but there will be a stage when they will stop dividing. Then this process of differentiation will take place. Now what is differentiation? It is the process in which the cells take a permanent shape, size, and a fixed function. That is called differentiation. And the meristematic tissues, which lose their ability to divide further. When they stop dividing, then those meristematic tissues are now termed as permanent tissues. So what are permanent tissues? Permanent tissues are the meristematic tissues only, but these are those meristematic tissues which have lost their ability to divide further. These permanent tissues are further of two types: simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Let us try to study them one by one. Now, simple permanent tissues are those tissues which are made up of only one kind of cells, and they are further divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, chlorenchyma, and arenchyma. Now, what exactly are these? Try to brush up one by one. Parenchyma. Now, this parenchyma is a type of simple permanent tissue which is made up of living cells. And these cells are loosely packed, because of which there are large intercellular spaces present between the cells. Now, these cells of parenchyma are made up of unspecialized cells with thin cell walls, and they are present everywhere in plants, in leaves, roots, stem, flower, fruits, everywhere. This parenchyma is oval, round, polygonal, or isodiametric in shapes. Now, what are the functions of parenchyma? Quite important. Number one, they provide support to plants. Number two, this parenchyma of stems and roots, they store nutrients and water. Thirdly, they store metabolic waste products also, like gum. Very importantly, if this parenchyma contains chlorophyll, then this parenchyma is termed as chlorenchyma, means paren plus chlorophyll. And now, because chlorophyll is present, we know that chlorophyll helps in the process of photosynthesis. Why? Because this chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight required for the process of photosynthesis. So chlorenchyma is nothing but parenchyma containing chlorophyll. Okay, very important. In case of aquatic plants, there are large air cavities present. Why? Because these air cavities will provide buoyancy, that is the upward force, which will help the plants to float in water. Such cells are called parenchyma. Now, what are parenchyma? They are actually parenchyma with large air cavities. These parenchyma are present in aquatic plants only, providing buoyancy to help the plants to float in water. Right? So, this is all about parenchyma. Let us come to the second type of simple permanent tissues. They are collenchyma. Now, what exactly are collenchyma? Collenchyma are also a type of simple permanent tissues. They are made up of living cells like that of parenchyma, but here the cells are closely packed, due to which there are less intercellular spaces present between the cells. Now, when we compare parenchyma and collenchyma, this is the difference we can see. That in parenchyma, the cells were loosely packed and there were large intercellular spaces. Whereas in collenchyma, the cells are closely packed with less intercellular spaces. Here, the cells are elongated and irregularly thickened at the corners. And these cells are generally polygonal in shape, and they are located in stems and roots and in leaf stalks below the epidermis. Now, what are the functions of collenchyma? The functions of collenchyma are to provide flexibility to plants. It is due to this collenchyma only that the easy bending of various parts of plants take place without breaking. And these collenchyma also provide mechanical support to the plants. So these are the functions of collenchyma. Clear? Now the third type of simple permanent tissues are sclerenchyma. Now this is very important. I want you all to focus on this specially because so many questions are asked from this particular topic. Now these sclerenchyma are made up of dead cells with no protoplasm. Till now, whatever we have studied, whether it was parenchyma or chlorenchyma or erenchyma or collenchyma, they were all made up of living cells. But these are the type of simple permanent tissues which are made up of dead cells and no protoplasm. The cells of sclerenchyma are very closely packed, because of which there are no intercellular spaces present between the cells. Another quite important feature present in sclerenchyma is that the cells are long and narrow and the walls are thickened at the ends due to a chemical substance called lignin. Now this lignin is a chemical substance which acts as cement and it hardens the walls, right? Now these tissues are found in stems around the vascular bundles, that is the xylem and phloem, in the veins of leaves, in the hard coverings of seed and nuts, in old roots, stems and branches. Quite important to remember, these are the tissues present in the husk of coconut. This has been asked many a times. Name the type of plant tissues present in the husk of coconut. It is sclerenchyma. Name the type of plant tissues which are made up of dead cells. It is sclerenchyma. Name the type of plant tissues having no intercellular spaces. Again sclerenchyma. Regular thickening, lignin presence, that is sclerenchyma. All these points are quite important. You need to make a note of all these points. Now, what are the functions of sclerenchyma? We have seen that they are dead cells. We have seen there are no intercellular spaces. Cells are very tightly packed. Then we have seen that lignin, hard chemical substance is present. Right. So it simply means that the functions of sclerenchyma is to make the plant hard and stiff and to provide mechanical support and strength to the parts of plant. Got it? So this is about sclerenchyma and these are the main categories of the simple permanent tissues. Now coming to the quite important thing, that is epidermis. Now what exactly is epidermis? We know that epidermis is the outermost layer of cells and it is present in all organisms. The main part is the outer covering is epidermis. Main function is protection. So it protects all the parts of either plants or animals, even the skin that we have on top of our body, that is all epidermis only. Now this epidermis is different in different type of organisms depending upon which organism they are present in. They perform various functions. In normal plants, the epidermis is usually made of a single layer of cells. But when it comes to the plants living in very dry habitats like in desert areas, there is some change in the epidermis. How? That the epidermis becomes thicker. Why? Because there, due to the dry habitats, protection against water loss is important, right? And in various areas, these epidermal cells on the aerial parts of the plant, they often secrete a waxy, water resistant layer on their outer surface. It helps not only in protection but very importantly to prevent the loss of water. Now, this epidermis present in any particular organism has a protective role to play. Its main role is protection. That is why the cells of epidermis tissue, they form a continuous layer. There are no intercellular spaces present between them. Most of these epidermal cells are relatively flat, and often their outer and side walls are thicker than the inner walls. So this is all that we need to know about epidermis, especially in plants, right? Now, one more important thing that is present in plants is the stomata. Now, what exactly are stomata? We already know that stomata, we have read it so many times, quite important. These are the tiny pores which are present in the epidermis in the leaves. Now, these stomata play a very important role when it comes to plants. Now, what are the functions of stomata? The first function is they help in the exchange of gases. We know that plants perform two processes. One is photosynthesis and one is respiration. When plants are performing photosynthesis, they take in carbon dioxide and liberate oxygen during daytime in the presence of sunlight. And while performing respiration, we know that the opposite process takes place, that now plants will intake oxygen and they will liberate carbon dioxide. These two gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, are also called respiratory gases. And the exchange of gases takes place through stomata in the epidermis of the leaves. It also takes place through the bark, where we know that lenticels are present. This exchange takes place in roots through the root hair, right? But the main gaseous exchange takes place through stomata. Second important thing is that stomata help in the process of transpiration. Now, what exactly is transpiration? You must have studied it. Transpiration is defined as the process of loss of water in the form of water vapors from the aerial parts of the plants. That is transpiration, right? So this transpiration, that is whatever there is some extra water in plants that is lost from the aerial parts, from the leaves to the atmosphere through these stomata only. Now there is a very beautiful mechanism which is present in plants. These stomata are enclosed by two kidney shaped cells called guard cells. Now these guard cells, they are responsible for opening and closing of stomata whenever it is required or whenever it is necessary. And this all happens due to the turgor pressure. If we try to relate, then these are the kidney shaped guard cells, right? Now what exactly happens is this inner part is known as stomata. These two are the guard cells. When water moves inside these guard cells will become turgid, they will swell, because of which this stomatal pore, this opening opens up. And the opposite happens. If water moves out of these guard cells, then these guard cells will become flaccid, they will shrink, leading to the closure of the stomata. So the opening and closing of stomata is a function of the guard cells due to the movement of water inside the guard cells and outside the guard cells, right? So this is what you need to remember about stomata, about transpiration, about guard cells. Fine. Let us try to summarize what exactly we have studied till now. We talked about tissues. What are the tissues? Group of cells having common origin and having a specific function. The branch of zoology dealing with the study of tissues is called histology. Types of tissues, plant tissues and animal tissues. We have seen the various differences between the plant tissues and the animal tissues. Mainly the difference is because of the basic difference in plants and animals, that plants are fixed whereas animals locomote. We started up with the study of details of plant tissues. We started with these two, the meristematic tissue and the permanent tissue. The meristematic tissue, continuously dividing tissue present in plants, are the meristematic tissues. And when these meristematic tissues lose their ability to divide, then they convert into permanent tissues. Then the process of differentiation will take place. Then these meristematic tissues, which are now converted into permanent tissues, will acquire a definite shape, structure and a function. We studied in detail about the meristematic tissue. Depending upon their location, they are divided into three, that is apical meristem. Then we studied about lateral meristem and the intercalary. The apical, they are present in the tips of root and shoot and they increase the length of the plant. The lateral meristematic tissue are present in the girth and they increase the girth, they increase the cambium, right? They are present on the lateral sides. Intercalary are present in the nodes and internodes of leaves and twigs. Fine. Then we talked about permanent tissues. These permanent tissues we said are further classified into two types. One are simple permanent tissues and another are complex permanent tissues. We started with simple permanent tissues which are made up of one type of cells only. Complex permanent tissues are made up of more than one type of cells, right? Simple permanent tissue are further categorized into mainly three types, that is parenchyma. Another one was collenchyma, and last but not the least are sclerenchyma. We studied in detail about these three. And parenchyma, we need to remember that if these parenchyma contain chlorophyll, then they are known as chlorenchyma, which basically helps in the process of photosynthesis. And if this parenchyma is present in aquatic plants having air cavities, then it is termed as aerenchyma, which provides buoyancy and makes the plants to float in water. Out of these, I specifically told you to focus on sclerenchyma, made up of dead cells, no intercellular spaces. The cell walls are thick at the ends due to the presence of a hard chemical substance called lignin, which acts as cement. And these sclerenchyma tissue are present in the husk of coconut, right? Then we studied about the epidermis and the stomata. In this lecture, we'll be just taking till here only, till the simple permanent tissues. Please go through all the details, and in the next lecture we will start up with what are the various types of complex permanent tissues which are present in plants, and we will also discuss about the various types, the four types of animal tissues, their location, their functions and all the details regarding it, right? So till now, just do till the simple permanent issues. Make sure that you read, you understand, you learn side by side till the next lecture. Fine. So complete up your work, and in the next lecture, we'll meet soon. to discuss about the complex permanent issues. Till then, take care of yourself, have a good time. Thank you so much for watching.